And welcome to Patriotic Vision. My name is Chris Wills, and I'm pleased to be joined tonight by the chairman of the Iowa State University College Republicans, Stephen Quist, and Brian Guillaume, who's actually an alumnus of Iowa State University and a registered Democrat. Both saw tonight's debate that was aired on Fox News Channel, the second Fox News Channel debate of the 2012 Republican race for the White House. The third debate overall, they had one on CNN. That was the most recent one right before this one. So we'll talk a little bit about what you guys saw there. Especially, I'm interested to hear what you saw in the debate hall, Stephen. So we'll start with you. What was your perception of how the Republicans did tonight, and what did you hear from some of the people that were joining you there on the campus of Iowa State University?
Yeah, it seemed like everyone was really excited to be there. It's the first debate I've personally been to where I was actually at the debate. It was cool to see it happen behind the scenes. Brett Baer, the analyst, was always having to, during commercials, tell us to quiet down so they could get more questions in, which is kind of funny. But so yeah, people were raucous, excited to be there. You also notice there's definitely a diverse group of supporters. Really, there was a set group you'd hear cheer when any single candidate talked. There's definitely people there for all the candidates, which was kind of cool to see. As far as how they did, I think Newt Gingrich did a good job. I think he came out and actually talked a little bit more policy, whereas a lot of the other guys kind of just went on their talking points still. And then probably the most interesting moment of the debate had to be the whole Michelle Bachmann, Tim Pawlenty little duke out there. That was a little drama. Well, he did.
Minnesota clash. Yeah. Most definitely. How about you, Brian? From the other side of the aisle, what's your perspective on how things went down at the Republican debate tonight?
Well, I think just initially I thought there was not necessarily, it wasn't anything I expected, I guess. I did expect Pawlenty to come out swinging, and he did. I think he had to. I think he knows that he's on the ropes and things aren't going that well. The thing that I found most interesting is the moderator, I think his name is Chris Wallace, came out and said we don't want any talking points. And the first thing Michelle Bachmann does is her campaign stump that Barack Obama is a one-term president. I thought that was very interesting to see. Other than that, I think the Pawlenty Bachmann stuff was definitely the. I also thought that that kind of happened because I think Fox was looking for fireworks. I think they set up things so that would happen. Sure. But everyone's looking for, they have to do what they have to do. They want people to watch their show. But I also think that the Gingrich responses at going after the moderators will definitely win him over with that base. There's, the right has a tendency to not like the media or distrust the media, and I think him going after them is a definite advantage to him. Other than that, I don't think anyone necessarily came out different in terms of where they were before going in. I think they all kind of believe in the same things, I think. I don't think there's a giant gap between one and the other, except for a couple of issues here and there. So that's kind of what I got out of it.
Great. Well, after the last debate over in New Hampshire that was aired on CNN, we had Berg Biro, who is one of the members of the College Democrats there on their campus. I asked him to take a leap of faith or take a leap from his party and name one positive thing that he found in the Republicans that debated that night. He was kind enough to do that. I went ahead and as a Republican kind of took a jab at some of the Republican comments that took place tonight. So I'll ask both of you to do the same. Stephen, if there was one big disappointing moment tonight, what was that for you?
I guess for me, I understand it, but I did not personally like the Tim Pawlenty little fight there with Michelle Bachmann. I really think in this election it's going to be critical to have the support of all Republicans going into 2012. And if we get too divisive beforehand, it could hurt the overall run in the runoff in 2012 with Barack Obama.
Okay. Well put. How about you, Brian? Take the other side. You as a Democrat, are you able to identify one Republican tonight at least, and maybe something positive in them that you liked?
I like that Ron Paul wants to end the wars. I think that's cool. I was talking to some people during the debate, and I said Ron Paul is so conservative he almost seems liberal in this debate. So that being said, I think besides Ron Paul wanting to end the wars, I think that Huntsman didn't run to the right, which I kind of expected. I was encouraged by that he did not shy away from his record. He stayed on his message, and he didn't shy away from that. And I think that's the one thing I liked out of the debate. How about that?
I'm surprised that you picked up on Ron Paul's anti-war stance. I mean, freaking every single answer the guy gives, I'll give him credit. When they talked Medicare and when they talked Obamacare in particular, he didn't bring up the wars. But every single other answer, from the economy to foreign policy, obviously, he ties in those wars and the wars, and he's been doing that consistently every time he runs for president. And he's got his Ron Paulites out there, so he's got his support, and he's actually doing pretty well in Iowa. We'll see how he does in the straw poll on Saturday. Well, thank you guys for being, getting outside the box, outside your parties, and taking a look at this debate constructively. As I said at the beginning of tonight's discussion, this is the third time around. Most of these candidates make their case to the American public. Really, the first time we see John Huntsman in a debate, I liked part of his answers, but overall, he didn't do anything to stand out. As a lot of people said when he first announced, he had that motorcycle moped commercial that people didn't really know what was going on in that. So he hasn't really stood out much. Kind of suffered from what Rick Santorum suffered from in the first two debates. This time he was like, I'm here on the end, pay attention to me. And you guys didn't see that. Stephen, you didn't see it in the debate hall, but Brian and I saw it on TV. If Rick Santorum was worried about getting a lot of coverage on TV, he actually had a split screen where he was on the screen twice at the same time himself. So he got plenty of TV coverage tonight, and he made sure of that. But seeing all this that we've seen develop, I don't know if you guys have followed the last two debates too closely. Is there anyone over the last three debates that you would say really hasn't done a good enough job to convince the American public, and in particular Republican voters, and should just say, call it quits now?
Call it quits now?
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's tough, because I think pretty much every candidate brings something individually to the race. They keep other people honest on certain issues. Maybe their chance of winning is very low, but I think that the party as a whole benefits them from being in the race.
Okay.
I guess that's my stance on that. I'm like, I think Newt said it when they were talking about other potential candidates. He said, one come all. I think he even told Brett Baer to get in there. I kind of agree with that stance.
That's right. He'd love to have a whole palooza in there, have all the Fox News contributors in there. Brian, what do you think? Anybody that you as a Democrat would like to see jump out of the race, maybe helping Barack Obama's chances a bit more?
Dropping out of the race to help Barack Obama's chances. I don't know if there's a certain one that I think should drop out necessarily as of now. I think Mitt Romney's been established as a frontrunner, and I don't think coming from this side of you, I don't think he's proven anything in a debate why he should be a frontrunner. But he's obviously not going to drop out. I think that Herman Cain came out with a lot of support initially, but I think he's been kind of lacked all that. That support has dropped, that excitement's dropped, because I think he's lacking substance. So for anyone who is like worried about losing on an ego trip, I think Herman Cain should definitely maybe step aside and let some other people run or get out, because I just don't think that the support's going to be there like initially. I think people are excited because he's very fiery and he's very rhetorically sound, but I don't think that there's any substance behind him, and I think people are starting to realize that, especially with Michelle Bachmann in the debate, who has that same type of personality and that same type of crowd, but can run on a congressional record, I guess you want to say, but she's at least a congressman.
Well, actually, what I think Herman Cain lacks is actually polish. The guy seems to really struggle in giving a good answer at these debates, and he's struggled on that in particular on these issues with the Islamic religion out there and his views on Islam. So I think where he needs to get better if he is going to stay in the race is his polish out there. Very good. I would probably agree with Stephen. Nobody drop out. Let's bring as many people into the race and keep the discussion going. I think that we're better off for it at the end of the day. Two people that weren't at the debate. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
I don't think anyone should drop out yet either. It's very early. I would just, in terms of who's got the best shot to win, and that's where I was going with that. So
absolutely, very, very good. I think we can all agree on that. So two people that weren't at the debate but are getting a lot of attention this weekend: Sarah Palin, Rick Perry. Sarah Palin's actually either traveling to Iowa or already in Iowa for the Iowa State Fair. Rick Perry apparently is going to be in South Carolina and New Hampshire this weekend. His people are saying today officially he is in the race. He's going to make it official, making the announcement on Saturday. Real quick, your opinions on both Perry and Palin. Let's start with Stephen.
I think Rick Perry has the potential to be a very electable candidate. I think he would run a good campaign. I think he looks presidential. I think he appeals to both the social and fiscal conservatives. Some things he's done, not everything's perfect he's done in Texas, but the only one who has a perfect political record is Herman Cain. That's because he doesn't have one. They've all made
good point.
But so I think he'll be able to talk on what he's done in Texas and created jobs, and he'll also be able to talk on the social issues, and I think that'll make him appeal to a lot of people. I think Sarah Palin, if she gets in, I think her grassroots movement will be incredible. She'll have a lot of support, a lot of strong support, but I don't know if she can bolster the overall numbers after the bashing she took in 2008 as VP to take the nomination.
Okay. How about you, Brian? What do you think on these two candidates? Are you worried that your side could potentially lose with a Perry or a Palin on the ticket?
From my side, I'm not really scared of any of the candidates, particularly Palin and Perry. Honestly, I thought that cloud would hang over the debate more. I was surprised they didn't talk about them until almost an hour, 20 minutes in, I think it was, which was surprising to me. I think some of the candidates hinted, there's another governor out there, or there's other governors out there. But Perry, what you said is official. I read that today as well. I think he takes away the most support, probably from Michelle Bachmann, I would imagine, because he's going to be able to pull the social conservatives over. But also, I like that Stephen mentioned job creation. His job creation in Texas has been in renewable energy and in the public sector, which is something that's not going to appeal to his base very well. And I think that the wind power and the public employees that have grown in Texas is not going to appeal to the right very strongly. So that being said, I don't know if he's got that credit. The job creation numbers might be good on paper, but I don't know if they'll appeal to his base. As for Sarah Palin, I just think that she doesn't like to be upstaged, and I think she likes to upstage people. If she's a serious candidate, I don't know. She has the fundraising capability, and I think she has the grassroots, like Stephen said, for her to get in it. But if she loses, I think her brand is gone. So I don't know if she's willing to risk that.
We'll soon find out, right? Well, very good. I think there's going to be a lot of attention on both of them in the next couple of days, and over the next couple of months, there's going to be a lot of attention on your state. Iowa is where you both live. Stephen and Brian, I hope at the end of the day, regardless of you guys being on opposite sides of the aisle, that you guys can agree that you want your state to play a major role in the nomination process and the electoral process of our next president. No question, it did for 2008. Barack Obama won Iowa early on in the primary process for his party, and he is president. That didn't work out on our end, on the Republican side. But what do you guys think will be the role of Iowa in the 2012 presidential race? And we'll end it there. Stephen, what do you think?